something that we haven't been talking about, but we've been saying we're going to talk about for like the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
Mr. Robot.
Dude.
I mean, show that we really, really like, I would say. It's probably our second favorite show on TV to Game of Thrones.
That's
you
correct. Yes. Yes. With Fargo slipping a little bit, it's no doubt.
So season 3 has been an interesting season. Season 2 left off on a really interesting cliffhanger. Spoiler for those who have not caught up. Basically, Tyrell Wellick ends up shooting Mr. Robot / Elliot at the end of last season. This season has been, I feel like, even like delving even further into Elliot's psyche, which I think is the parts of the show that we like the most. But there's been I feel like there's been a lot of fat on the bone in a way. What have your initial thoughts on the season been?
Yeah, so I like the Mr. Robot Elliot relationship, his split personality, which was, of course, the big reveal of season 1. It's being manifested and shown in a different way this season, where in season 2, to a fault, season 2 was too surreal in Elliot's head so much with the fake out with him being in jail the whole time and whatnot. So the new direction we have now, it's a little more plot, but as Sam Esmail says, it's never really that much about the plot. But the conflict between Elliot and Mr. Robot manifests itself in a new way because they're almost fighting each other, and when Elliot's like regaining consciousness and oh wait, I just lost 20 minutes. What did Mr. Robot do? Or I woke up and he was taking over all night. I think it's just the way that they're Esmail has got that conflict into the story. I think it's working a little better than it did last season. So, but what do you mean by the fat? Where do you think the fat is this season?
Well, it's like what's the episode where Tyrell is basically like all about Tyrell? Was that episode 2?
I think that was episode 4.
Episode 4. Metadata, is that right? No.
Let's see. But yeah, I mean, that was a complete bottled episode, a flashback episode of sorts with how Tyrell escaped the Dark Army, like hid him, which is something we totally didn't need, even if it was, well done in its own right. It was so superfluous.
So, yeah, it just seemed kind of like maybe they had like 8.5 episodes like written out for the season. They're like, we could elongate Tyrell's episode, maybe even give him. I think also because he had been such a mysterious character to that point, maybe they felt like fans needed to see that. But I think they could have fit that into 20 to 30 minutes of an episode.
Yeah, I mean, that was episode 3, by the way. But I mean, yeah, my takeaway: we're 6 episodes in of a 10-episode season, and leaving, especially where we're at now with season 6, with Tyrell getting arrested. I mean, even before that happened, I think Tyrell has become more ancillary. I think the character has more or less run its course for the show. Yeah. I mean, if you listen back to past pods, we started this before season 2 premiered. So our excitement, about Tyrell was really crazy, and we almost built it up too much in our own heads. But I think if you watch the season, I think the arcs, Tyrell's arc is coming to a close. I'd say I don't think he's necessarily going to get axed right away, but I mean, especially when you see Joanna's death being killed early in the season. I mean, that really when she got shot and like totally got, I actually like stood up out of the chair I was watching. I like totally didn't see it coming, despite the fact that she was being attacked. Right. And then when Roxette's "Listen to Your Heart" the song comes in, I was like, man, I thought that scene was scored perfectly. I've actually rewatched it since I watched the episode. So
yeah, I was actually
seemed to be on their way out.
I was watching and I got a text like right before that scene, so I was kind of like looking at it while I was going, and then I like heard the gunshots. I looked up and I had to rewind because I was watching on DVR, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like it was really one of those moments that I think, even though maybe if you like look back, you could have seen something like that coming, you just don't expect it. And then it was really scored perfectly. I think the episode everybody's talking about has been episode 5, Runtime Error, which was basically like a single tracking shot, or maybe not a tracking shot, but basically just following him around in a way.
Right. The illusion of a single shot. Right. That episode was a masterclass in tension. It was superb.
And I think actually, I like the episode after it more. So,
6,
Kill Process, episode 6, which aired last week. That and Runtime Error were basically the same story, but turned into two episodes. The parts that I really like about Mr. Robot is the chances it takes, and nothing on TV looks like it. It doesn't. Nothing on TV has a story like this, and I think especially in Kill Process, like the moments that are almost like darkly funny are what make Mr. Robot so endearing and a pleasure to watch. Because while Runtime Error was just so cool, and like the tension of it, like Angela basically trying to get through this, like, I don't know, break into Evil Corp and like survive and not get hurt or found out, was so tension filled. But then like seeing Elliot walk down that hallway in episode 6, and when Mr. Robot starts taking over in those like glitches and he just hits like a wall or like falls over, it's just like, it's funny, but at the same time you're like, oh man, like this is all like so beautifully done, and it's like comical but dramatic. And then the face off between Robot and Elliot, I was just like, whew, like I didn't breathe throughout that whole like 3 minutes. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall it's a season about character dynamics and how they've changed since the start of the show. And we already talked about Elliot versus Mr. Robot. That's obviously the central character dynamic, but Angela manipulating Elliot's personality disorder to commit terrorism for her cause of justice. I mean, she's changed so much. And even Darlene, for a time, manipulating and lying to Elliot on behalf of the FBI. And then, I mean, last episode 6, concludes with stage 2 coming to a conclusion. 71 E-Corp buildings go up, thousands of people killed, and the tunnel vision of the characters, both Elliot and Dom, effectively both on the same side, but they were so laser focused. Elliot on the one New York City building, and Dom on her white whale of Tyrell. I mean, just watching all of this unfold while we have no fucking clue what White Rose really wants the whole time as the evil mastermind, puppet master at Trump's Mar-a-Lago.
Right.
It's wonderful.
I'm wondering, because basically the first like half of the season has been about Elliot trying to find a way to stop that attack, and then just finding out that even though he was able to stop the attack at that one location, White Rose just decides to blow everything else up, and like basically half of the season was kind of wasted in terms of like what were they trying to do with the plot. Did you feel at all frustrated by that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I wonder what the true purpose of it is. I mean, it seems like it's a pissing contest between White Rose and Price, but we still don't really know what White Rose and thus the Dark Army want. I mean, they annexed the Congo in this. It takes place in 2015. Obama's still president, but they're making Trump digs.
Right.
So it's never been a show that's been focused on the plot, as Miles said. And season 2 was so plot light that I think we're getting so much action and conflict in season 3 that I don't have a complaint.
Yeah, I think the reason that I don't feel frustrated by it is, one, this is more, like you said, like you keep reiterating, it's more a story about this person who is trying to deal with his mental health and the people around him and how it impacts them and how they impact him. But also, I think this is really like White Rose flexing. Like White Rose has been this like kind of like myth, and we were finding out more and more about BD Wong's White Rose. But I really think this kind of shows like, all right, this person can try to stop us, but we're just going to kill thousands of more people and basically have the second biggest terrorist attack on American soil. Nothing can really stop me. I can create destruction if I want to. So it just kind of proves that there's like a bigger bad out there that they're facing than just what Elliot and they all seem to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like the tunnel vision has come, has resulted in terror. So what happens next is still 4 more episodes. And I mean, White Rose is a series regular this season, so we'll get more of her. So,
yeah, shout out Bobby Cannavale, by the way, is Irving.
Yeah, I was gonna say Irving's been great. He's killing it.
Bobby Cannavale has never been more charming than on this, especially not on that. I can't even think of it. What was that rock and roll show on HBO?
Vinyl.
Yeah. Oh God, I knew it was like a stupid one-word title. Oh God.
He was good on Master of None season 2 as a Harvey Weinstein-esque fella.
Yeah, more like By the way, right before we logged on, I saw Charlie Rose is the most recent celebrity to be accused of sexual harassment. So it's just the names keep piling up, dude.
Keep coming out.
It's horrible.
Let it happen. Drain the swamp, as they say.